Hey everybody, it's Jimmy from the DIY and Digital, and it's time for my 2019 Christmas guide. Welcome back everybody. First of all, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any updates like this video. It's the Christmas season, which means it's time for my 2019 Christmas guide. If you want to know how to buy for a model railroader, you should check out my 2018 Christmas guide. This is going to be more of a list of products that you can buy or you can ask for as a model railroader. So full disclosure here, these are affiliated links from Amazon, and I do get a little bit of a kickback if you were to buy them through these links. It all goes back into helping the channel. You don't have to buy these products through these links. These are just suggestions. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is something that is absolutely synonymous with Christmas and the holiday season, and that is a train running around the Christmas tree. And probably the most famous train that there is in terms of the Christmas season is going to be the Polar Express. And then when you're talking about toy trains and model trains, you're really talking about Lionel right here. These trains are big enough to be able to run around the Christmas tree without getting in their way or getting anything clogged up. So when we're talking about a train to run around a Christmas tree, I have to recommend the Lionel Polar Express train set, and that retails for $259.99 on Amazon at last check. These are absolutely fantastic sets. They're not the most realistic, but they're absolutely a ton of fun, especially if you've got little kids. They can just watch the train go around the Christmas tree, and they're really fun to set up with your kids as well. So that's the Lionel Polar Express train set in O scale. Now, if you're looking to get someone to start off in the hobby, we're going to be talking about starter sets now, and we're going to start off by talking about the most popular scale, which is HO scale, and that's 1/87th scale. For this, you're really going to be looking at a starter set, and the most starter sets you're going to find from a single company is going to be Bachmann, which is why I'm going to recommend the Bachmann Santa Fe Flyer starter set in DC, which is direct current, which means it just puts power to the track and runs the trains around. This comes with a circle of Bachmann Easy Track, which is a great place to start for a model railroad track. It's already got the road bed attached, and it can run on carpet, it can run on the floor, it can run on a table, it can run just about anywhere. It's got a power pack, a locomotive, 2 pieces of rolling stock, and a caboose. Another great thing about these starter sets is that they have diesel locomotives. Now, I love steam locomotives, but they have a lot more gears and mechanisms that can get caught up and messed up and just ruin your day. So when you're starting off, I do tend to recommend diesel locomotives because they're a little bit tougher than their steam locomotive counterparts. So for HO scale in DC, that is the Bachmann Santa Fe Flyer starter set. If you're looking to get someone a DCC starter set, or Digital Command and Control, I'm also going to recommend in HO scale the Bachmann Digital Commander starter set in HO scale. This actually comes with 2 locomotives, which is a bit of a rarity when it comes to starter sets, and some rolling stock. And this is just a really great way to get started because it also comes with a DCC base station. It comes with the Bachmann Easy Command system, which is actually how I started into DCC before I jumped into JMRI and DCC++. This is a really great way to get started in DCC, and for those that are pretty much don't understand what DCC is, it's basically a way to send digital commands to a locomotive that has the decoder installed, which allows you to run multiple locomotives on the same track and control them individually, which is something you cannot do with DC locomotives. So that's the Bachmann Digital Commander DCC starter set in HO scale. Now we're going to switch over to N Scale, which is the second most popular scale. And N Scale is really good if you don't have a ton of space to work in. And what we're going to start off here with the DC starter set, which is pretty much the exact same as the HO scale starter set, except in N Scale it's called something different. It's the Bachmann Super Chief starter set, and this comes with a locomotive, 2 pieces of rolling stock, and a caboose, and a circle of track to get you started. And the only real difference in this is that it's N Scale, it's also DC, so this is a great place to start if you're looking to start into N Scale. For DCC and N Scale, I'm actually going to switch over to Kato and their blue Bonnet starter train set. And this is a ready-to-run DCC train set. It comes with Kato Unitrack, a locomotive with a DCC decoder installed, 3 pieces of rolling stock, and a caboose. And what this is basically is it's Kato's equivalent of the Bachmann starter set. It's got Kato's Unitrack system, which is very similar to Bachmann's EasyTrack system. They're not compatible, but they are very similar. Actually, I do prefer Kato Unitrack to Bachmann EasyTrack, as that is my entire layout is built with Kato Unitrack. And this is another great place to start off in DCC. Plus you're starting off with Kato, which is a very, very solid, very, very well-built brand. These locomotives are not going to break on you easily, and they're very, very good and they'll last a very long time. So that's the Kato Blue Bonnet Santa Fe starter set in N Scale. Now moving up into O scale, which is 1/48 scale, we're going to be talking about Lionel for starter sets, and specifically the Lionel Pennsylvania Flyer train set. This is a classic train set that's been around for a very long time in one iteration or another. And the current version actually has Bluetooth and can also be ran through the Lion Chief app as well as a remote control. It comes with a locomotive, a steam locomotive. It also comes with 2 pieces of rolling stock and a caboose and some of Lionel's track. And this is just a really great place to start. If you have little kids, this is also a really nice train set because it's bigger and they can have their hands on. You don't have to worry about it breaking nearly as much as you do with smaller scales. So that is the Lionel Pennsylvania Flyer starter set. The last starter set I'm going to specifically talk about is in G scale. Now G scale is slightly different. It's got a slightly range between 1/24 and 1/29 scale, and you can also find it in 1/20 scale, which some people will also call F scale. But we're going to stick with G scale for now, and G scale are the really, really big locomotives. You may have seen them out and about in the world. They're usually the trains that if you're in a restaurant, it's got a train running around the ceiling. Those are G scale locomotives. They're also very popular for garden railways. That's the most common place you're going to see a G scale locomotive. They're also great for running around the tree, so this is another Christmas tree train set that I can recommend, and that is an LGB freight train starter set. Doesn't really have a specific name. These train sets have been around for a very, very long time. LGB is a very, very long-running German company. They have been doing G-scale trains. They've been the standard for G-scale trains for a very, very long time. They've had a few different things going on. You have a few other companies like USA Trains and Pico, but LGB is really the one that's been around for a very long time. And so recommending this LGB freight train starter set is a great place to start if you're looking to get into the larger scales like G scale. So now we're going to get into some of the products that I've seen that have been staged to released or released in the coming weeks or have already been released. The biggest one that I've seen is from Scale Trains. Their SD45 line in HO scale has been released, so definitely check that out at scaletrains.com. I've also noticed that Athearn, Atlas, and Kato also all have releases slated to happen in late November and December of 2019, so definitely check out those websites as well. Also, I have failed to mention that if you're into S scale, which is the American Flyer set, that's right in between HO scale and O scale, you can check out Lionel's website because they also handle the American Flyer S scale trains. Now, if you're looking to buy model railroad equipment for a loved one, there's a few things that you need to know. The first thing you need to know, and the most important thing, is you need to know what scale do they model. There's a lot of different scales in model railroading, and you need to make sure that you buy the correct scale for their layout. The next thing that you need to know is what era are they modeling. Are they modeling the 1950s, the 1990s, the 2000s, the 1910s? Rolling stock and locomotives from those different areas will look out of place in different eras, so you want to make sure that you get the right thing for them. The next thing you'll want to ask is, do they model in DC or DCC? If you're buying a locomotive, that doesn't really apply as much if you're buying rolling stock or anything like that. But DCC locomotives tend to be more expensive than DC locomotives because they have that digital decoder in them. And then you'll also want to ask what area of the world they model. If they model in the Rockies, they model on the Northeast, they model in the Southeast, they model in Europe. These are the things that you need to ask to make sure that you get the correct locomotive for the area that they are modeling. Now the last thing I'm going to go over is 3 of my favorite tools that I have used this year in building my model railroad. And the first is an airbrush. Now a lot of people think that airbrushes are quite expensive, but I use a fairly cheap airbrush to do all of my modeling in, and I've linked that in the description below. The next thing is a static grass applicator. This tool has added so much realism in being able to apply static grass to my layout and get a real grass look, and it has been absolutely phenomenal, and I've linked that in the description as well. And the final thing is, for all the Arduino projects, is a good soldering iron. Don't cheap out on your soldering iron, buy yourself a good one, and I've linked one in the description below. The last thing, if you're looking to get into all these Arduino projects that I have done, I have put a link to an Arduino starter kit in the description below as well, so be sure to check that out. That's it for my 2019 Christmas guide, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions or anything else you'd like to see, go ahead and leave a comment. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any updates like this video. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Happy railroading.